Welcome to the show where I'm going to talk about building a spider web of business. This is the relationship marketing experience where I teach you how to grow and scale your brand from a growth mindset, not just a marketing mindset or not just a sales mindset, but a mindset of growth. If you like what I'm about to talk about, or if you're excited about what I have to talk about, please like and subscribe to this channel. That tells me that you enjoy what I'm saying and that it allows me to provide more value to you in the best way possible. So today what I did was I organized about 6 different strategies I think that work the best to build what I call a spider web of business. And you're probably wondering, well, what does a spider web of business even mean? Like, what is that? Well, picture this. We have a spider web. It's this intricate web that's like a circular thing that a spider spins together. And it's this like really cool, complicated process that creates this house that is also a food capturing device for a spider. And so when you think about a spider web in business, it's saying, okay, well, the spider web has 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, like a million different points. And so in business, we want to create several different touch points that allow us to generate business and not depend on just one aspect. And one aspect is like, for example, say all you're doing is paid media. And say iOS 15 or 14 comes out and all of a sudden everything changes and now your revenue's down 40%. Well, guess what? Your one application or method of growing your business just got dumped on from something that was way out of your control. And so what we want to do to make sure that we build businesses that are sustainable, businesses that grow, and more importantly, businesses that are going to be here 10 years from now. Or even more importantly, a business that you might want to sell down the road should you ever want to retire, is the ability to build something that grows from several different aspects. And a business that can grow from several different aspects becomes a business that can stand on its own, and it becomes a business that can scale. That's exactly what we want to build here. And so without further ado, the first thing that I think we should look at when we're talking about business growth, and I'm going to keep these pretty simple because honestly, simple is what allows you to move forward and grow. Complicated becomes really problematic over time, and complicated becomes a massive issue when you grow. So we have to take what we're doing and simplify it to the best way possible. And so the first thing that I wanted to talk about in terms of business growth is paid media. We do need to be doing paid media. I'm not saying paid media is bad. I'm not saying we shouldn't do paid media. Paid media is awesome. It allows us to amplify our message to a market that's massive, a market that basically has no endpoint, a market that just keeps growing exponentially. And so paid media, what I'm referencing is Facebook, YouTube, TV ads, Hulu ads, radio, all that stuff. And right now, what I think the platform that allows us to get the biggest bang for our buck are YouTube and Facebook, essentially. They allow us a lot of growth. They allow us a lot of control over the process, and they allow us to grow at scale and reach people who are on these platforms every day. And so paid media should definitely be a big part of our strategy, and it should be a part of our strategy to where we look at people as people. And next episode, I am going to talk about writing killer copy that converts and captivates people's hearts and minds. But that's the biggest part of paid media that we need to become good at. Paid media is no longer about targeting. Paid media is no longer about the specific person. Paid media is about, well, I guess backtrack a little. It is about the specific person because paid media is about writing copy that captivates hearts and minds and captures people's essentially their beliefs patterns. And they start to see you or your business or your brand as a leader and as something that they feel good about following. So the key to capturing paid media is really in your ability to write in a way or do videos that speak to your people directly. So then number 2 that we want to look at when we're trying to grow our businesses is our email, our SMS, and our messenger strategy. So we might capture these leads via paid media. We might capture these leads from wherever, but we need to be able to follow up with them long term. And so that means we need to be sending emails out regularly and not just like random newsletters. We need to be able to send emails out with a purpose. And so part of understanding this whole strategy is recognizing that there is a long-term play at hand here. And you have to put on your thinking cap and you have to put on your marketing plus your sales plus your operational caps and think about, okay, what works long-term? What's sustainable? What is the end goal here? I'm not just sending emails to send out emails. I'm sending emails out at specific intervals for specific reasons to create a specific desire in my prospects so they'll take a specified action. And that's what I want. I want a data-driven, pragmatic solution that allows me to grow and scale in terms of my overall strategy. And all of this should encompass your overall strategy. One of the biggest mistakes I think people really to do, and Let me know if you wanted me to do a video about this, but it's creating operational efficiency in marketing operations. How can you grow and scale with the long term in mind and create strategic objectives and opportunities that allow you to see where you're headed and hit micro touch points along the way? But without further ado, we need an email strategy that goes in line with SMS and Messenger and Instagram DM and all these different platforms, but a strategy that allows us to stay in contact with our market long-term, nurture them, show them we have successful clients or successful products or successful people or whatever, and show them that we have leadership, show them our story, create the people behind the brand, create the persona behind what we're selling. So people learn that they can connect with this thing that's not just a thing, it's now people, because people connect with people. And at the end of the day, people will forget everything that you fed them. But the one thing they will never forget is how you made them feel. So we need to continuously make them feel good, make them feel better about the world, make them feel like our brand is on the mission or your brand is on the mission to change the world. They need to feel good about what they're purchasing or who they're purchasing from and why. So then the next thing I look at is referrals. And so referrals need to be, again, a strategic process that you utilize to get you to a long-term goal. It's not just randomly asking for referrals. It's having a system and a sustainable method that allows you to create referrals on autopilot. So if you say you get one client from paid media, or you get a lead, that lead becomes a client from paid media. Well, that one client, your opportunity there is to turn that one client into 3 referrals. The biggest, most important thing is recognizing that every one person can become 2 or 3 more. And guess what happens as a result of that? Well, if your paid media strategy is on point and you're getting 2 or 3 referrals off of every one person, well, now you're going to multiply your return on ad spend like 10 or 20 times, because you're creating an exponential growth factor with referrals. And so what does that mean? Well, it's like if you get one turns into 3, 3 turns into this, and then 3 more, and then 6, and all of a sudden it's this growth curve that just goes straight up, because you're growing this massive thing that becomes this like web. It goes 1 to 3, and then 3 to 3. It's all over the place. It's a number that I'm not going to calculate here, and I'm not even sure if I can calculate it right now. But that's what's important there, is creating this exponential growth factor from referrals in what you're doing, because that allows you to grow and amplify every one of your other strategies tenfold. It's going to amplify your return on ad spend. It's going to amplify your email metrics. It's going to amplify your partnerships, everything else I'm about to talk about. So now that I mentioned partnerships, let's move into that spot. So strategic partnerships is what I look at next. So when we are growing our business, one of the most important things you'll learn is your network can be a clear definition of what your net worth looks like. And this is why we want to create strategic partnerships in our business, because strategic partnerships allow us to look at other businesses that have a product or service that's complementary to ours and create a relationship with them to where we can offer each other services and products to our customers on each end, and siphon the networks off from those people into our own and give our networks to them. And one of the most important things about strategic partnerships is recognizing that this is built and based on trust. We build trust with our partners, we work with our partners, and we do it in an ethical way. So that way, when we grow, they grow, and we're both happy. We both see the metrics of success, and we create this thing that blossoms. Then your partners will refer. You'll refer to your partners, and you create your own spider web of partnerships that becomes this really cool opportunity for growth that usually doesn't require any sort of paid media. So then the next thing I look at when I'm building this spider web of business are influencers. I think influencers are highly underutilized in terms of the market and where we're at. And I'm not talking about people with like 10 million, 100 million followers. Those can be incredibly hard to reach and they're incredibly expensive. But what I think works really well is finding people who are in the 100K to like 1 million follower range and paying them to post content that you've already created and organized and designed onto their profile and then link back to whatever it is you're doing. If you're a service-based business, it's like they link back to your profile and they have to DM you to get a free training on XXX or whatever. And then all of a sudden you have a conversation with them. If it's a product, they link back to your product or whatever it is you're trying to do. They give you the shout out, you siphon their network that already trusts them and utilize that to grow yours. So what do? Well, you gain followers from it. You also gain opportunities to have the conversation with people if they're DMing you for something. And the DM can be like, DM us for 15% off a water bottle, DM us for 50% off of your first month subscription to our thing in this app. DM us for this free training on the 3 strategies to lose weight without diet pills or restriction. So those can all be DM us for this. Then you have a squad or a crew that sits in DMs and answers those questions and moves people down the purchasing decision or gets them to make the purchasing decision right there. And so influencers can be an incredibly powerful strategy that we should tap into. And this isn't usually overly expensive. Some of your shout outs will be anywhere from like $50 to $200, maybe $500 at the most. And the most important aspect on this is making sure that the influencers you speak to have the network that you actually want to get in front of. You want to make sure these aren't like fake influencer pages that have a bunch of fake followers. So you have to do your due diligence. And if you want me to do a specific video on exactly how that strategy works, how to approach them, how to negotiate, how to pay them, how to make sure you're safe in the process and you recognize if they do have the right market, just drop influencers down below and I'll put that on the docket for another video on this show. And then the last thing that I think is incredibly important that people never really focus on it, and I can't understand why. And I really think it comes down to the fact that it requires a certain amount of organization. And if you're not organized, this is going to be challenging. This is going to suck. And this is why this is the last one, because this becomes one of your most powerful aspects of growth. And that's follow-up. And I know it doesn't sound flashy and it's not crazy. And it's not like, look, I just did something magical. I'm a wizard. It's follow-up. And follow-up means the leads that are coming in through paid media, through email, through your SMS, through your referrals, through your partnerships, through your influencers. If they're not ready to buy today, well, they might buy tomorrow. They might buy next week. They might buy next month. They might buy 6 months from now. They might buy 2 years from now. But we never give up on them. And we follow up with people in an ethical and compassionate fashion to where we're not being jerks and we're not being aggressive and pushy, but we continuously stay top of mind. We reach out at various intervals. We see how they're doing. We ask questions. We send emails that are follow-up strategy. We send SMS that are follow-up strategy. We just continuously follow up because we never want to give up on the leads we have. And this is why in this process, it's not about marketing versus sales. It's not about having two different dichotomies. It's about putting them together to make sure that everything you have over here in marketing moves into an environment to where sales can have a cohesive unit to continuously follow up with those people. And so follow-up needs to be something that we have written down, something that we track, something that we organize. Because if it's not organized, it's never going to happen. And as a last point, I think follow-up puts us in this mindset to where we have leads and we continue working those leads until they say, hey, unsubscribe me or I'm not interested. Then we can move on and put them in a campaign or somewhere that says, do not follow up with these people anymore. They asked us not to. But these are the 6 strategies I think you can get started with right now that can help you grow your business exponentially and not depend on any one aspect. And only one of them depends on paid media. And that's paid media, obviously. So they are paid media, email, SMS, or your messenger strategies, your referrals, your strategic partnerships, your influences, and most importantly, your follow-up. So I hope you liked this video. If you liked it down below, just let me know what your thoughts were. Let me know what your number one biggest takeaway was from this video, and let me know what you want me to talk about in the future. If you really like this video, make sure you hit the like button and make sure you subscribe to this channel so you can catch me on the Relationship Marketing Experience next week when I talk about how to write killer copy that converts and captivates people's hearts and minds and drives them to make decisions based on the emotion at hand. I will see you all next week.